growing up, and even now, I'll just be open about it. It's not something that I'm like ashamed of.
This is almost like the next step. One of the next steps I think we're taking as a sport is.
And then of course we walk away and my wife's just like, whoa, calm down, bring it back in. And I'm like, oh, you're...
I would love to talk about this. How do you not burn out?
Photographer of the year. Let's hear it for Dan Shelley, Shellda Photos.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Shellda podcast, where today I am joined by one of the biggest YouTube creators, Greg from How to Play Paintball. How are you?
That's very kind. I appreciate that. I don't know if I would say that, but thank you.
You know, it's like I always try to think of like some type of intro that's not just like, hey, how's your day going, right? Because it's always a weird thing for podcast. And when I was doing some research, I would probably put you in the top 7, I think, for like in terms of audience wise, if you look on YouTube, which is pretty awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You know, preparing for the show, I was doing some research on you and watching some of your other podcasts that you've been on, and of course, I've been a fan of yours for years. And it kind of dawned on me that like, wow, a lot of people that want to get into the sport, you might be the first face that they ever see. You know, because YouTube nowadays is a search engine, right? Like a lot of people would go to Google historically, but they're going to YouTube now. And you might be the first. So like you might be the true ambassador of paintball, which is wild.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Has that ever hit? Or like, have you thought about that?
I don't know that it's been something that, well, I mean, like the whole name came through because, I mean, when I had gotten started and trying to think of like what to do, I think it was my dad was saying like, hey, you should start a channel and you should do something. And somehow it was like, well, what about How to Play Paintball? Like that's super keyword loaded and all of that. And I was like, huh. So I typed it in, it wasn't taken. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to definitely take this one and register this. And then I looked it up, howtoplaypaintball.com. That wasn't taken. So I was like, it was like $20. It was super cheap. I was like, all right, we're going to go with it. So yeah, it is kind of crazy to think, you know, there'd be people that are seeing me as, I guess an ambassador for the beginners that are coming out, which is kind of cool.
For sure. I mean, that's, you know, I think when you hear something like that, it kind of takes you back, right? Like I saw you kind of like, huh, I never thought of it that way. But it's true. You know, I talked to a referee. I had a pro referee on a few months ago, and he was like, we're actually kind of ambassadors for tournament paintball because when we're setting up, you know, here in Texas in Garland this weekend, people are walking up to them like, hey, what is this?
Right.
And they have to explain it.
Right. It's a really good point. Yeah.
And you get to do that virtually to people.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully they don't see some of the early videos because those I kind of cringe at. But you don't want to take them down at the same time. You're like, they're bad, but it's kind of like a weird nostalgia thing, I guess, where you're like, we can acknowledge that they exist, but we don't need to watch them again.
It shows that like progression of like, wow, like I started here and then I never want to look back.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure for you, know, I always have YouTube Studio up where you can like see your analytics and whatnot. And like every time I see one of my like first 2 or 3 podcasts pop up with the view, I'm like, oh man, they probably just clicked off of that so fast.
Yeah, but I mean, you start learning and start to go from there and like, all right, well, this didn't work or this did work, or, you know, hopefully you have people that can help you out and are able to kind of like, hey, what about, you know, try to do this thing or try to do that thing. So definitely helps to have that.
Okay, before we get too far in the episode with Greg, which I promise you is going to be an incredible one, I've got to give a shout out to my 3 show sponsors. And if you're a weekly listener, you know where this is going to go. I got to start off with Hormesis. Those guys have been with me since day one. And my goodness, they're putting out some absolutely incredible products. Now, you'll be seeing this right after the NXL Texas event. And I know that they're going to have some of their new polos that they have shipped over directly from Bali. And I plan on bringing mine this weekend for when I go out to a team dinner. I'm going to be rocking my polo. So when you see this, head over to Hormesis' website and grab these while you can, because my goodness, these polos are absolutely incredible. They're super thin and lightweight, and they're perfect for going out for team dinners. And then secondly, I've got to give a major shout out to bfpgear.com. Junior and Gina Brown are absolutely taking over the paintball industry. Not only are they sponsoring 2 of the best teams in the world, Paintball Fit and Dynasty, they're also running new sales. I feel like every time I go to their website, I always see something new that catches my eye. Speaking of their website, let's pull it up here because that leads right into my next sponsor, Pro DNA. Man, these new cleats that they put out a little bit ago have been taking over the paintball industry. Whether you're a Pro DNA sponsored team or not, I've been hearing feedback from everybody that these cleats are so comfortable and they've really helped out players on the field with that first initial step, right? Like that first step off the box, you really need to like dig your toes in, especially on turf. These things are a game changer. Grab these while you can because they're a limited quantity. And of course, at bfpgear.com, they're running a little bit of a sale. So grab them while you can. Okay, back to the episode. Yeah, for sure. And, going a little deeper into the YouTube side of it, I think I heard recently that you had just hit 11 years on YouTube, or 11 and a half, something like that.
Yeah, 11 years. It
Wow.
recently was like happy birthday, whatever. And I got the little clicker thing, whatever. I don't know. It's not a plaque. A plaque would be cool. Like
Not
the
yet.
play button would be really cool. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's been 11 years. Like just the fact that it's been going for that long, and I don't even know how many videos I've done now, and it's pretty cool to see that.
Talk to me about that, because I think I'm fairly I'm new to the podcast side of it. I think I'm going on 40 episodes, and I haven't missed a week. But on the photography side, I've been doing that for 3 years, and I have never missed a day posting a photo on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And that level of consistency it's unreal. Doing something for 11 years, creating videos, there's so much that goes into it. There's titles, thumbnails. What am I going to talk about? So to do that for that long is insane.
Yeah.
So talk to me about where that drive comes from and how you're staying consistent with all of your work.
Well, I'll admit that there's definitely some times that I'm like, oh, I need to get a video out tomorrow, and it's been busy or whatever. And but I have been pretty consistent. I think there's only been a couple weeks that I haven't had something, or I might even post a short that is, hey, I'm sorry, we're out of town, or, this has happened or whatever, and I'm not going to have a video this week. But yeah, I mean, consistency in YouTube is really important, not even just for paintball stuff. So anyone that wants to do things, you have to just put it out there anyway, just to see what's going to work, like what's going to click, what's going to be the thing that people connect with. I mean, there's definitely the drive of like, okay, well, it's kind of like when you have to go to the gym, when you're like, I don't necessarily want to, but I need to. So it's like that, like. So it's kind of I guess that can be sort of a drive of, okay, like I would love for this to be my full-time job. Like it would be really cool to be able to do that. So if I want that to be a possibility, well, you got to put in the extra time and you got to put in all of that. So I guess that's what it would be.
Yeah. What have you learned over the course of that time? And you can take this question anywhere. It could be as a creator, it could be as a paintball player, it could be you're now getting into the coaching side, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So what have you learned about this whole process being on YouTube?
I think something is, and I have to catch myself with it. I'm sure you run into the same issue, is not worrying so much about the analytics. Like it's important, but don't take something personally. Like sometimes there's videos that I'll put like, oh, I put in so much effort, like this is going to be an awesome one. And then it's like nothing. And then there's one that it's a scramble kind of video, and it gets a whole bunch of views. And I'm like, I don't understand. And actually talking with Matt the Gym Rat, like I was asking him for some advice because he's done really well and he's a great guy. Like he just loves paintball. So he's someone I can talk to and ask advice from. And for him, he was like, I just studied the algorithm and I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, there's only so much that I can do. I have a wife and 2 kids and a full-time job. And so it'd be really cool to be able to do that. But I think just kind of trying things out and learning things. And if I get a new tool, like, okay, like let's try it out. And if it works, then great. And if it doesn't, I think trying to have that kind of a mentality. And also you're going to have trolls. So ignoring the trolls, like those are always kind of funny. So I guess just not letting things, just kind of letting it roll off your back, just like I had one guy arguing with me or trying to say some stuff about something about just how I played or something and whatever. And I'm just like, all right, I don't want to come across cocky, but like, I don't know who you are. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah. So hopefully that kind of answers that question.
Totally. I relate with that so well. Because being on this podcast journey, I've had some of the legends of the sport on, right? Like I've had Oliver on, Ryan Greenspan, Matty Marshall, and a bunch of others. I'm like, man, like when this guest comes on, like it's going to pop off. I'm going to get these huge spikes. And then what'll happen is I'll have guests that come on and I'll be like, like it's a good story, but I just don't know if it's going to do well. And like, those are the ones that like usually pop for me. It's crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't make any sense to me. So like I kind of have like a running, like on my phone, I have a notes. So it's like, oh, this would be kind of cool. Or sometimes like even the ideas that I get are when I'm doing just my own drill day. And I'm like, what if I did this, or what? I kind of have ideas. And honestly, for the drill side of it, if I really hated the drill, it probably means it needs to be a video. Like if it's really difficult, then it probably needs to be a video. Because it helps push me as well, just as a player. But and then if there's something like, oh, well, this could be something helpful, and again, just kind of throw it out there, and if it works, then great.
That's such an interesting mindset, because I've had I think Scott Stewart said it recently a few weeks ago when I had him on. Is he said something similar where when I'm on the field and something doesn't go well, that's when my brain says I need to do more of that. And I think majority of like the common people, when something is too hard or doesn't go well, I'm done with that. Like on to whatever is easier, makes me feel good. So for you to be able to tap into that mentality, that just goes to show you're a consistent creator, and obviously you're successful on the field. Has that always been that way for you though? Or like, have you had to train that?
I think it's definitely an ongoing thing. So growing up and even now, I'll just be open about it. It's not something that I'm like ashamed of with like obsessive compulsive disorder and things like that, like growing up. So, I take medication for that, and it's something I think the US overblows any mental health stuff. I think it's something that we should be. It's like, you don't tell someone that if they have to take insulin that they're weak. This is just how my genetics are.
Sure.
And actually my mom was the one, I think I mentioned this on another podcast too, but I think it's really helpful. She had mentioned something to me to kind of help out, where it's like, you have to think of thoughts like birds. So that the thought is okay, but don't let the bird make a nest. So it's kind of like what Scott was saying. It's like, be okay with the uncomfortable, but don't let it dwell and like fester. So it's like, that's a thought. I'm going to let it keep flying, like kind of training yourself in that way. Instead of it being, oh man, like starting to beat yourself up over it. And I think looking back on my career in paintball, like I still remember there's this one practice I was like throwing my gun, and it's just like just getting upset. And if I could go back, I would just be like, stop.
Why?
Focus on what are the things that you can adjust, and what is it that you can actually change in this situation, and then go do that, instead of it being, I'm going to be so upset and let this fester. It's just a bird. Like, no, you're not a bad player. You're not this. You're not this. That's not true. That's just a passing thought, and just kind of let that go.
What a beautiful analogy that your mom gave you. That's
I feel like she might have stolen it from someone. I'm not sure. But
we'll give her credit for this.
We'll give her credit.
Yeah. I've actually heard that a lot recently. Because I consume a lot of podcasts as well. And I'm hearing more of that when what used to be considered as like a mental illness, or like if you're a weak person, if you have, anxiety, or if you have imposter syndrome, a lot of people are now starting to say like, hey, this is actually a strength, because of, you can lean into something. And if you can harness it that way, then you can turn it into something great.
Right. Yeah. Just like with me, if I'm overanalyzing something, kind of turn it into a superhero instead of it being, or a superpower, where I can look into, well, what can I do better in this? And then not let it consume you in a negative way, but okay, well, I wasn't as fast off the break last weekend. I want to work on my speed this week. And it's like, I can just, it's just kind of focus on that stuff. Yeah. And then it's not an issue.
Yeah. That's also a theme that I've heard a lot lately on this podcast too, is a lot of pros that have come on, or former pros, when they go to the field, they're harnessing and focusing on like one thing, where they're saying like, hey, this Sunday, I'm going to focus on this. And when I talk to divisional players, I don't hear that same message. It's a lot of, oh, we're going to have breakout practices, and then we're going to do snap shooting, and then we're going to do all these things. And it's just like, it's so much, but I feel like the more I'm talking to people who have had success in the sport, they're really narrowly focused on improving something, at least one thing every Sunday or for the weekend. It sounds like that's a similar mentality for you.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend. I definitely should be better with it. I think it would be helpful to write down these are the things that I want to progress in for the next time. So I'm going to incorporate that now, actually. So thinking of that, I was actually thinking about Brandon Cornell. I think was the one that had mentioned this before. This was years ago, where he lost some one-on-one, and he just went, "Okay, I have to win like 40 one-on-ones before the next event." And at his local field, he was just going out and just, I have to win this many one-on-ones. I'm not going to let it be an issue. So that would definitely be something like, yeah, I need to improve in that way of having a set goal. There's probably times that I am doing that, like this past weekend with the Texas practice. It's, well, what can we do and what can't we do? And if I get shot, I get shot. It's whatever. It's not a big deal. Just don't make the same mistake twice, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think going out and no, actually, maybe I do. Yeah, because that there was the other weekend I was like, oh, I want to do circuits. I want to work on this or whatever. So maybe I am incorporating it without realizing it.
I think you might be, but I think you're also onto something too. There's an art of writing it down, because then you can visualize it and you can take that idea and like, okay, it's almost like a checklist, right? Or like, hey, I am going to focus on this, and you can cross it off.
Yeah.
So I think you're onto something there. Hey, really quick before we go any further, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support. We're pretty close to hitting 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So thank you to everyone who has shown love and supported and hit that subscribe button below. If you're a longtime listener and you haven't yet, that shows me a lot of support and shows me that you're enjoying the content. So take a moment, hit that subscribe button below. It helps out. All right, back to the episode. You had mentioned that you've obviously are recording yourself playing, and you have like the barrel cam with a GoPro, and I think the video that you just dropped, you had a second view of that, or you had the Instago 360S, I think it is, on your...
Yeah, the Go S, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about what that is for you, because obviously it's content, right? You're putting that out there, trying to help grow the sport. But what are you noticing about yourself and your game when you're going back home, when you're watching that footage?
Yeah, I think what's helpful with that footage is seeing okay, sometimes there's no refs at the field. I could have sworn I shot this guy. It helps to be able to go back and go, okay, that shot actually was good. And, maybe they cheated you, maybe they didn't. It doesn't make a difference. Because again, practice is about improvement, not winning.
Not winning it, yeah.
So if I can go back and see that, or sometimes there's even angles. There was one I remember vividly that the camera picked up a move that I didn't see. And it was actually Connor Kelly made a move inside on the field. So I was shooting at one side of the bunker, but because of the angle of where I was shooting, I couldn't see it, but the camera could see it. So it was interesting to see, like, there's extra stuff that I'm missing out on, basically. Yeah. And then the reason why I have the Goggle Cam one now with that Go S is it can be really helpful to have both, because sometimes, you're stuck in the bunker like this, and it's just pointing at the sky, not looking at anything. So if I'm doing this kind of stuff, looking around, at least people can see what it is that I'm looking at. Like with the coaching stuff, part of the community that we have, I post videos of my own critique. So that way they can actually see, okay, I was looking at this, or I was doing this, or this is why I did this, or I actually could have done this better. And I tell them, like, look, it helps me hopefully just as much as it helps you, because I'm able to go in and see what are the minor improvements. Because I don't care how long you've been playing. Like, you talk about Oliver and these other like huge names, anyone can improve. Like, if you ask Ryan Greenspan, did you have a perfect event? He'll say no. He can tell you probably all the spots that he messed up. Yeah. But if you let it fester, it's not going to be helpful. So this kind of helps me to be able to go back and see that. Or if there's even like a disagreement of, I could have sworn I was talking about this, and maybe I was, or I wasn't, you can improve from either side of that.
Thank you for explaining that, because I think I'm seeing more and more of these cameras pop up at the field. And I'm always wondering, how are these players using this footage? Is it just, hey, I want to go make a cool reel? Or is it something like what you're doing is you're actually taking it and dissecting, like, okay, this is exactly where I messed up, or I missed something here. And then from that, how can I go back and improve that for next time? That's such a skill that I think is going to help people change the game just by having that footage, right?
Right. And even Red Legion, you remember, I mean, I remember one of their coaches climbing up a ladder and filming all of their practices. And there's a reason why they're the team that they are, is they dissect everything. Yeah. So that just goes to show. And if you look at all the NCAA stuff or NFL, like major leagues, like they're going to be doing all of that anyway. So, because there's a lot more money involved in there too. So they want to make sure they're getting their return on investment.
Yeah, totally. I mean, any pro sport, they're breaking down film on a weekly, if not daily basis, and they're breaking it down by position too. And so this is almost like the next step. One of the next steps I think we're taking as a sport is the more we're getting individual players having these GoPros or the Insta360s, I think we're just going to start to see the level of gameplay increase. And I think it's a huge step for us.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, we've got obviously, speaking of cameras, there's a lot of people that want to be a content creator. I just had somebody reached out this week of like, hey, I want to get a camera and like vlog, like Matt the Gym Rat. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to become a paintball content creator?
Just go for it. Like, why not? It's free to set up a YouTube account. It's free to go, like, just put it out there and see if people like it. And if they don't, I mean, Matt's a really good example because he didn't start off with paintball. He just put out some paintball stuff because he enjoyed playing. Yeah. And then that side kind of took off. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I can do this. In the same way that if the fitness side of things had taken off, I feel like he would have done the same thing, still be playing paintball because he loves it. But, if that had taken off, it would have gone there. So maybe they can find their niche there and be able to see that. But yeah, just put it out there. Like, what's the worst thing that happens is you don't get any views, but you didn't spend any money to put it up. Maybe you got a cheap Amazon GoPro knockoff, whatever, that you spent $30 on and the quality is not great, but you put something out there. Like we were talking about earlier with watching the old stuff. Like I had an old Replay 1080p. If you remember those, like the tube camera things, I actually used that to vlog with too. It wasn't even like just my barrel cam footage. It was like I'm holding this thing and that's what I was shooting with. And like the microphone is hot garbage on that thing. Like it was not good. Remember using my phone a bunch and, it's just go put it out there. Why not? Just go have fun with it. And if people like it, they'll like it, but do it and just enjoy whatever it is that you're putting out there.
Yeah, that's some sound advice because I'm the same way with, and it's taken me a while to get to this point, but like I've had this like fear mentality. You want to talk about things that could be like not a mental illness, but like something that could be a deterrent. I've always had this fear of regret of like, man, if I don't do this when I'm older, I'm going to look back and be like, I wish I did this.
Yeah. The what if. Yeah.
The what if. Right. And I think for content creators specifically, you can start out doing something, but there's so many potential branches of where this thing could go. Like, 11 years ago when you started your channel, I bet you probably wouldn't have thought of you being coaching sessions now that you're coaching players.
Right.
And so it's just something that kind of births from doing this new avenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of uncharted territory with paintball content. And I think with content in general, I mean, you see like these disruptors that come along and, like the big guys like Mr. Beast and PewDiePie and all of those guys, when you see their old stuff and what they were doing and eventually things took off and they went with it. But just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Like don't compare yourself to other people. If anything, look at other content creators and go, I like this. I don't like this. Like, let it be your own voice. Like this. I'm not the like Mark from HK. I'm not going to be the guy that's doing the whoa. Like that's not who I am. That's who he is. That's how they have their content. Awesome, go for it. Like it's great, cool. Like it's really entertaining stuff, but that's not me. So I'm not going to do that. I have all my nerd stuff. I have I can be myself in that way.
And that's why 34 or 36,000 people love you. You're you. You're not trying to be somebody else.
Yeah. Actually, just under 35 now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Have you ever, I did this a while ago. I had my stepson here and he's, starting a little YouTube channel. He's got a few hundred subscribers and we went into like ChatGPT and we were like, hey, show us what, 300 subscribers looks like. And it showed like an amphitheater full of 300 people and his mind was like,
oh, that's really cool.
just the
Oh, that's a
nephew.
really cool way of doing it. I never thought about doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like for you, try to find an image of what 35,000 people looks like.
Yeah.
And you're talking like football stadiums.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool.
So like to think about your audience, it's a lot of
Yeah.
people that
It's
you're
kind of
putting messages out
crazy.
to.
Yeah, because my wife, we were just talking with someone, an old New England Hurricanes player, where it's something with our AC was getting fixed,
Yeah.
and somehow I think he saw my paintball gear in the garage and mentioned that he used to play with the Hurricanes like before they went pro, and so we were just talking about a bunch of stuff, and he understands all of that, but my wife is just like. I mean, like she's proud of what I've done. I think she's proud of, like what I've built, but she's like, I don't get it. Like you would sell jerseys that were still sweaty and people wanted to buy them. And like, you know, like I tell people I'm cool for a couple weekends out of the year. Like it is cool
Yes.
to have people say like, can I have a picture? And like, can I,
Yes.
buy this thing from you or whatever? Cause my students, I'm teaching high school, they just see me as Mr. Montalvo, and
Yeah.
some of them might. I think they know about my channel. There's been some that have like commented on stuff. There was one kid one time I remember years ago commented on one of my vlogs. Can I get an A in the class or something? And I'm just like,
Oh,
what
wow.
what are you doing? This is
Wow.
not the place for that. Just do your work and you'll do fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
So like actually let's dive into that. Like talk to me about that because I think I struggle with that a little bit where, I've got my 9 to 5 job. And when I'm there, people are like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in Dallas. I'm a professional paintball photographer. And oh, that's cool. And like the conversation dies. But like when I'll be there this weekend and like I will get stopped. I'll ask for
Hmm.
pictures. I've signed autographs, like the
Uh-huh.
same thing that you're going through. And people in your quote unquote real life job just don't understand that. And so like talk to me about that balance of how do you go from being a teacher where you're blending in with the rest of the teachers and then you're also going to this NXL event where people are going to stop you and ask you for pictures.
I don't know. I guess it's just kind of like different hats. Like I have my teacher hat. Cause even that changes throughout the day. I had a student yesterday or today say like, why don't you smile? I'm like, just doing my job. Like, and then there's another class that I'm just because of the atmosphere of that class period, I'm able to joke around with them. And then, okay, let's get back serious and get back into the assignment. These other ones are all freshmen pretty much. So that's why I can't joke around because they don't know how to get back on track. But
Yeah.
I also teach at an alternative school. So it's all the students that are suspended long term. So 45, 90, or 180 days from their normal school. So some of them are coming in with even like ankle monitors, and then others are just wrong place, wrong time. Then there's some that it's like their third time back. So some of them are learning their lesson and not wanting to come back. And then others are there for the long haul,
Yeah.
which we all make mistakes. So
Totally.
it's not looking down on them. We all did stupid stuff when we were younger. We just didn't get caught.
Exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, I think it's just having the different hats and okay, this is the mode that I need to be in. And when I go back out on the weekend, in the same way, like even when you're outside the net, you're friendly with everyone. Like Keith Brown, I bring up all the time. He's like the nicest person off the field. But I
Yes.
know when we get on the field, he wants to break me in half. But afterwards, we'll joke around about it. And it's just having that flip of like, no, if you're on the other side of the field, you are my enemy, and I want to put you into the dirt. And then afterwards, we'll shake hands.
Yes.
And I know it's the same way coming back. So I guess being able to kind of have that switch is good anyway. So maybe I've been practicing that anyway.
Yeah. Has that always been there for you? Like, have you always had that switch?
In terms of switching like hats at work or going on the field, off the field.
Um, I guess I think when I asked that question, mine was more of like, if I'm a content creator or a paintball player, I'm well known in this community, and then when I go into school, like I'm blending in with everybody else.
Mm.
I think that's where sometimes people have and you hear it a lot in sports where athletes are this huge superstar, like this over the life superstar, and then they have a hard time switching to like being a family person or retiring and being back to just a normal person.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's maybe my wife and kids actually help me to keep a level head. Just because like my boys are just, I get home from work and going to the gym after work, and Dad, I can play with us, and it like they
Yeah.
just don't care. Like they just want to go and play Mario Kart, or they want to go outside on the swing set, or they want to go, shoot the gel blaster or whatever. And, they just want to go and have fun. And that's it. So they don't even see me as anything beyond dada, Then my wife with paintball, she's been around it for forever. Like even when we were dating in college, she was helping out when I was with Florida Atlantic University. And she's like, I still don't really understand it, but like, it's cool, like it's just like my thing. So maybe it helps that she kind of brings my head back in. Like there's only been one time I can think of out in public that someone recognized me when we were at the gym, and they were like, wait, you're Greg from How to Play Paintball. And I was like, oh, hey, how are you? And And then of course we walk away and my wife's just like, whoa, calm down, bring it back in. And I'm like, oh, you're such a jerk.
Yeah, I'll tell them you pick your nose off camera, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that probably helps. And I don't know if part of it too is I come from a performing background as well. So I played alto sax in like a performing arts school in high school. I did theater. I've done stuff like performing in front of people, like even speaking in front of people. So I don't know if that's part of it too, is maybe it's just a matter of, it's just a different, I don't want to say different stage, but like just a different platform of what I'm doing.
Stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. So it's just a different stage, I guess, to me. So maybe I've been sort of progressing for that or getting ready for that my whole life.
Yeah, it's what it sounds like. Because, I think if we're talking about performing specifically, you're about to step on stage and perform in front of a lot of people, and you've got to remember a whole bunch of things and sometimes switch different roles. And so you're using a lot of the same skills there that you would in a classroom, going from imagining different subjects and then also stepping on the field too. I would love for you to answer this question both ways. What has paintball taught you that you can use in the classroom? And then what has the flip side of that? What has being in the classroom taught you to use something on the paintball field?
Oh, that's a really tough question. You didn't send this one in the ones
that you sent this one
to you. Something that came to mind immediately, at least just in general life, that paintball has helped with. And I think even when I did martial arts and I was younger, helped with this, but paintball can help with being calm under pressure. So understanding like, okay, yes, there's all this stuff going on, but it's kind of like, okay, who's the guy I need to worry about first? Okay, this guy down the wire on the snake, and then this guy would be like a secondary. So I need to check him every once in a while, but this guy's my big threat right now. And then I can check on this guy. Okay, now this is another threat, but he's further back, so I don't need to worry so much, and being able to, I guess, prioritize all of that. Because in the classroom, it's a lot of, I guess this is something that would kind of tie into that, would be the quick changes and adjustments. You have a play on the field and you get a minor. Okay, well, that throws off maybe your whole snake side or whole Dorito side. What do you do to adapt? And with teaching, it's one of those things that you have to be able to adapt and try to figure out on the fly. How do I teach this subject, or what can I explain this in a different way that makes sense to them? Because even with coaching, I'll do the same thing whenever I do clinics. Is I like to ask them what is it that they feel they're weak in, and then if I see something that I'm like, nope, we need to switch to this, I'll scratch stuff out and do something completely different if I need to. So maybe that's something that teaching has actually helped hand in hand with being able to kind of change on the fly, and then again with music and all of that, and that literally doing improv, because I played jazz. So doing improv and all of that, and just being able to kind of flow with whatever's going on, I guess all kind of ties in with paintball as well, of having that kind of a balance.
That's an incredible answer. I think to summarize the 2 points is it's adaptability and being able to stay calm under pressure.
Yeah.
I had Chris Caputo on a few weeks ago from Leverage, and he's a firefighter for New York City. And then the one that dropped today, Jake Seabaugh, he's in his residency to become a doctor. And so you want to talk about like staying calm under pressure.
Yep.
And they both said that paintball helps them in those roles. And so it's just so wild how what we're doing with this like insanely small sport still, because paintball is still really small.
Right.
That there's so many life skills that you can take away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. And even with that, with just the interpersonal stuff, even with the team, how you work with people that maybe you don't necessarily get along with, but you need to work with. Like I have coworkers that I don't necessarily want to go hang out with, but okay, I still need to work with you. And if how is it that on the field, like when it matters, push everything out of the way, what is it that we need to do in this situation?
Yeah, great answer. We've mentioned coaching a few times, and I've heard this is something that's been fairly new for you. Mm-hmm. So I would love to learn more about the coaching side of now your business, and also the thought of what it was like to start that venture, right? Because I think a lot of times when we have a new idea to either start a business, there's just so much that goes on of like, oh, I want to do this, but there's so many things come up of like, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not good enough. People aren't going to pay me. Talk to me about that whole entire process.
Well, I think something that helped is because I had already done clinics before, it's already helped in that way of kind of learning as you go along. Like even with teaching, my first year teaching, the stuff that I did then is not what I'm going to do now because of what I've learned throughout the years. You have the trial and error, and okay, well, like this was too many people with a clinic, or this was, I should have actually charged more because I did all this extra stuff. And, like you kind of learn all of that. But with the whole like moving into it, I think it's something that I had wanted to do before. And it's funny how God kind of puts people in the place of like where you need to be at the right time. Cause it was in Atlantic City. I didn't have my jacket or something. Like it was cold. I'm from Florida, so it was cold for me. And I was like, I'm just going to go back to the hotel and get food there. Cause some of the other guys wanted to walk super far. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So as I'm walking back, there's someone in the car there and goes, "Hey, I just watched your video." And we just struck up a conversation, and him and his brother do like marketing stuff. And he's like building a field and he's doing a bunch of stuff. So we started working together on that and kind of like, hey, let's make this into something. And his brother specializes actually in like online coaches for personal training and all of that. So it's just for him, it's the same kind of framework, but how do we implement it into this niche of whatever the community is? Yeah. But something that I had seen and what I wanted to do different than other courses that are out there is, and I tell people this, I'm like, look, I can send you 11 years of footage, but if your elbow is sticking out, it's not going to tell you. So what I'm doing is very hands-on. So clients will send me footages. So I also have a program where they have videos that they can watch. There's some kind of foundational stuff and then drills and then breakdowns of like zone control and things like that, like how to make a layout or not a layout, a play, understanding the roles of each position, all of that stuff. But then they're also sending me their footage of them doing those drills or playing or both. And I'm going through and critiquing it. So it's a 3-month period. And then if they want to do a monthly after that, we talk about that. But like I had a client send me like 3 minutes of footage is all that he could send for whatever reason. I don't know if it was a camera thing or what. And the critique I sent back was like 20 minutes. And then another guy, same thing, like 3 minutes. And it was like 16 minutes of a critique. And it was only 2 points. And it was a 3-man thing. Another one, he sent me 40 minutes of footage. And it was basically like 2 roughly 40-minute videos. I had to split it up into 2 because I want it to be really hands-on because that's how I learned. Like I still remember Eric Roberts, way back, old LA Ironman player, teaching me about ghosting in a bunker and like shadowing bunkers. And it was such a mind-blowing thing to me that I didn't have to be behind a bunker and I was safe.
You're close to it. Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah. And he's like, no, just sit right here and shoot this way and you're safe. And I was like, all right, I'll trust you. And then I did it and I didn't get shot. And I was like, this is incredible. But if it's not for those guys that are helping you out, there's certain things that you just won't learn. So that's what I wanted to do was have this, there's a lot of great courses out there, but I wanted to have that real hands-on approach and be able to help them to grow in whatever their specific issue is. It might be snap shooting, it might be laning, it might be like all of that is great, but their paintball IQ isn't as good or, whatever. And like we had mentioned, what's great is there's so many different camera options out there that you can get a cheapo and send me the footage. And I tell them like there's pros and cons with all of these. We'll work around it. It's okay.
Are you seeing a lot of people sending you like GoPro footage, or are they setting up like an iPhone or camera somewhere pointing at them doing their drill?
Um, so let's see. The one from there's been two that are like Goggle Cam. I don't think that anyone's. I'm trying to think through the footage that I've seen already. I don't think there's been any like barrel cam footage, but they're having people on the sideline with just a phone, and I tell them that that's fine.
Sure.
Even like a drone is fine. I won't be able to hear what you're saying, but communication can always improve. So that's
Yeah.
always going to be something I'll say. Like
Yeah.
even to myself, like you can always communicate better. So whatever you said, you can do it in a better way. Um, and yeah, so that's what I've been going with. So I've gotten some clients on now. It's been going for like about 2 months now.
Wow.
So and it's been cool to see people come on board, and I know that it's something new, so it's tough. You know, you have people
Of
that
course.
are curious about it, and I try to tell them like, look, it's not free. It's not going to be something free, and I don't mean it to be like I'm going to steal your money or anything. It's I'm going to make sure you get your money's worth, because I was that same kid in college and high school. All my money from work basically went to paintball.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want you to spend money like I've heard horror stories where people go to a clinic and they say, snap this. Okay, cool. Next person. It's like, well, why did I pay you all this money if you're not actually going to help me? So
Yes.
I want it to be really hands-on, but there is that other side of it, which I don't mean this to sound like greedy, but there is the side of like, it's also the time and experience that I have. And there's a cost to that. I'm sure I know it from the photography side of it.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're speaking my language right now. I think a lot of people in the business world, and especially in paintball, is when you have something new, um, there's a pros and cons to it, right? Where like when you go into a grocery store, there's a reason why they have free samples for you to try,
Mhm,
because they want you to taste it, and then if you like it, okay, then go buy it.
mhm.
And so a lot of people in business will say, hey, go give away your craft for free and then charge it. But there's also pros and cons is when you do that, and now you've got to change the market of like, hey, what I was giving to you for free next week or last week, I'm now
Yeah,
charging you this week for.
right, right.
And so there's pros and cons to both of it. But I think the theme of what you are saying that I took away is whatever you're going to do something that you believe in, that
Mhm,
you're passionate about. And
mhm.
that's when like really the gold comes from. Because if you're trying to do something that like, oh, I think the market needs this, sometimes the passion's not there, but you want to do something like, hey, I wanted a really personal experience and I want to give that to people. That's where I think people are going to find gold in your program.
Yeah, and I think once they see how much I'm trying to be nitpicky, it's like, look, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
So don't take any of this as a negative. This is all to help you to get better. And if you don't have that, you know, speaking of music, I just thought about my old high school band director. Never gave anyone 100%. I think the highest you could get
Wow.
on anything was a 97 or a 98, just
Wow.
because he said I could go back, record you, and listen and hear mistakes. So he never gave 100. It was always like basically the 100 was the like 95 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So there's always that extra little bit of room. So even if I have a client that's maybe more experienced than someone else, we can get even more nitpicky,
Sure.
because especially at the top level, that little bit extra means you dying off the break, or you getting shot in that gun battle, or missing that shot. So we need to be nitpicky in those things. So yeah, so like, yeah, it's absolutely, and I feel like that's a thing that I have a gift for. I don't mean this sound like
Got
cocky. I don't mean it
experience.
like that
No.
at all. But even with my church, like helping with teaching stuff there, and obviously teaching as a profession, it's something that I feel like I'm good at as well, and it's a way that I can help others.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a program that's geared towards that.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a natural fit for you, because it
Yeah.
sounds like you've always kind of worn. Speaking of hats, you've always worn that coaching hat, or that
Hmm.
hat where you're always observing somebody and how they can improve in whatever they're doing, whether it's in the classroom or on the field.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, how do you not? I would love to talk about this. How do you not burn out? Right, because 11 years of playing paintball, obviously, it's a fun sport, but 11 years of creating content, having that content brain on, and then now doubling down with, hey, I'm also going to have this business as well. How do you juggle all of that without burning out?
Um, because this is pretty new, a lot of it is trying to testing the waters and seeing
Yeah.
what we can grow. So like my wife and I had sat down and just kind of like, hey, I'd like to try to go after this. Like things are going to be really busy for a couple months, but let's see.
Yeah.
So some of that is like there's an understanding in that way. So that way, like if she wasn't on board, then it probably wouldn't have happened. Just because we have 2 kids to worry about. Like there's a lot of other things that we have to worry about. So as great as it would have been, but I think the timing of it is kind of perfect. So I guess with the burnout question, I think you had sent this one too, and I was curious about like I can't really pinpoint what it is that will kind of keep that from happening, because there are times that I've had after a tournament or like a rough practice where I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what is this? And like, or you wasted money on something and you're just like, just broken about it. But there's something about the sport that I can't really explain that just kind of grabs you and holds on. Like it's hard to describe, but like, I know that you know what it is. It's that intangible that every paintball player knows,
Yes.
but other people that don't play paintball have a hard time grasping.
Yeah. Yeah. I go through the same thing. And so thanks for taking a moment to like think about it and process it. Because you went where I thought you were going to go with that is you can, I'll sometimes do a podcast, right? Or I'll go to an event and take a bunch of photos. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm only going to get X amount of views on this, or I'm only going to, have this many photos taken. It's like, so why am I doing this? And then I'll step back and then I'll look at it like, well, wait a minute. It's an incredible sport. I get to do what I love. This is something that's meant so much to me my whole entire life. And like when I start to think about that, like taking that step back and I almost reappreciate what I'm doing. And like I get more excited about it in that moment of almost burnout. So it's a weird, like fine line, I feel like.
Yeah. It's just like that push sometimes to, I'm going to do this because it's like the workout example that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this, but I'm going to, because I know it's what's going to be beneficial. But yeah, it's such a hard intangible. Like it's difficult.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And it's, the Scott Stewart mentality, right? Is like, no matter what, no matter how tired you are, like still show up every single day. And if you grind, or as they say, if you keep struggling, eventually it's going to pay off. Like something good will come from that struggle eventually.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think even like you think about always looking for that silver lining, like I don't really hide my faith, like Philippians 4:8 talks about whatever is true, noble, righteous, like think about those things.
Yeah.
So even in tough times, when you start looking at what's the benefit out of this? Okay, like this is going to help me be stronger in XYZ, or this is going to be beneficial in this way down the road. Working out is a great example. It's like you embrace the suck now, and then later on down the road, it might be months that you see the results of it, but it's going to be that. And it's the little minor things that you can see. So like that silver lining is always there. So long as you look for it. If you only look for the negative, you're always going to find the negative. Yeah. But if you're looking for the positive, there's a positive in everything that happens.
Yeah, that's incredible advice. And I do want to jump into religion here in just a bit. But you did mention one thing that I would love to ask your advice on, because I think a lot of people struggle with this without knowing they struggle with it. You had mentioned about wanting to start the coaching business, and you're like, hey, if my wife wasn't on board, and then you went off, right? And I think a lot of players, whether they're in the divisional ranks and they want to continue their career, if they do that, that may mean like double practices, Saturdays and Sundays, or any type of advice. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to grow in their paintball career and it's going to take more time commitment? Like, how would you recommend they approach that?
In terms of like a spouse or like a significant other?
Yeah.
I think, sorry.
Yeah, just to add some more color on that is when I'm at NXL events, it's a lot of males, right? Obviously, we're a male-dominated sport. I'll often be in circles of guys, and they're like, oh, like I'm here, but then I see them down on their phone, and like I know they're texting with their girlfriend or their wife, and like you can just tell like something's off there, like
Mhm.
they're in a fight, or like they're not, the spouse is mad that they're there, or like there's something, right?
Mhm.
And I called somebody out on it a few months ago. I pulled this, I'm like, hey, I saw your face change. Like, what's going on? He was like, yeah, my wife's kind of upset that I'm here. Like, it's another tournament. Uh,
Right.
and it was challenging. And I think we all go through that in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
So I would love to know, like, what type of advice would you give to somebody who wants to go deeper into paintball?
Yeah, I think if there's a spouse involved, or like significant other, it's important to have communication. Like that's something that so my wife and I had been doing some counseling. Like, we weren't on like the brink of divorce or anything. It was just, we were like, we keep going in this cycle. Let's try to break it. And paintball kind of seemed to be a little bit at the part of that. Sorry, we're dog sitting for my
No
my
worries.
parents, and he doesn't like our cat, or she doesn't. So if you hear barking, that's what that is.
Totally okay.
So the counselor that we went to has been super, super helpful. And it's just like trying to understand each other, and trying to explain in a way. Like, I think for men, we can want to be very logical, like, well, but if we do this, then these things are here and all that. And it's like, men and women are very different. So trying to understand each other and have conversations about it. Hey, this is very important to me. Here's why, like those kinds of things. And ultimately, like, what's the important thing. So like, when I had stepped back from pro, like, it was a lot of stuff where I was putting a lot of time into things. And we had just had Thomas, and I think Ben was on the way. So we had 2 kids, and it's just one of those, like, okay, this is a real life moment kind of a thing. And God willing, I'd love to get back into playing pro. Like, it would be really awesome. But if it's going to take me away from all of them, it's not going to be worth it. Like,
Yeah.
so even like when I'm away at a tournament, making sure that I'm having those times that I FaceTime. And then I think the communication aspect also, like, from my wife, has been great, where she's like, I love that you're wanting to call the boys too, but call me as well. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Like, it's not that I don't love her. It's just, I was just like, oh, let me take care of the boys, make sure that they're all okay.
Yeah.
And when she says that, it's like, okay, cool. Like I need to make it a point. And even if it's putting a reminder in my phone, it's just something for me. Cause you get focused on everything else.
Yeah,
And
it
then
happens so
you're
fast.
like, oh, I need to, and then just step out and just do it. Like, if it's not a team meeting, if you're just having, dinner or whatever, like, just step out for 15 minutes. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
if someone's going to cut you over that, like, that's not the team you want to be with anyway. Like, it's not going to be worth it. So I guess that would be what it is the advice of just having good communication, and trying to have the best balance that you can.
Yeah.
So like, after the Latin American Championship, I didn't practice that next weekend. So
Yeah.
even though I got second, which was good and bad, it was like that bittersweet. I wanted to go out that next weekend immediately, and just like, no, I don't like how that ended. No, I'm going to make sure, because I know that September is going to be busy because of Texas and all of that. And then some other stuff that's going on. So I need to prioritize. This isn't like a necessary, as much as I would like to go out and do drills and like to go out and play, it's not necessary. So let me make sure that I'm spending time, like actual quality time with my family. I think some of it too, just as this thing can be an issue, guys. So make sure that, put it down. I have to do that sometimes, and it's helpful. My wife will just be like, hey, I'm like, oh, yep, sorry.
Yeah.
Just put it down. The message can wait till later. Like, be in the moment, I think, is something else that's really helpful.
Yeah. Thank you for this advice. I think this part of the show right here, you've just dropped nuggets of gold the whole entire time. Like, I think this is the one that it's going to resonate a lot with people. I could have asked you that question about how do you become a better paintball player or teammate, and like chopped it. And what you just said is exactly the same advice. It's communication, right?
Yeah, communication. Yeah,
having open
understand each
communication
other. Yeah,
and prioritizing what you need and want.
uh-huh.
And that's so important in a relationship, especially with paintball couples.
Mm-hmm.
Having that balance and prioritizing, I think, it's so key. It's something my wife and I struggled with for the past 2 or 3 years, and it took us a long time to like realize like, hey, let's have an open dialogue about this. And when we did that, like, not only did our relationship skyrocket, but like that's when my business took off too, because we were now we didn't have competing priorities. We actually were able to list things out.
Right.
So thanks for opening up. I know that's a pretty vulnerable question to answer, so I really appreciate
it. Yeah.
One more question on that. You had mentioned on a previous podcast, and I loved it. You had said something like, I would love to go play for Dynasty and win 100 medals. Then you followed it up with like, but that would take away a lot of time from my kids on the weekends, and they wouldn't remember me for the medals. Talk to me about that, because that was such like I literally sat back. I was like, holy cow, that took so much for you to say that.
I think it's difficult because I feel like I've grown in this because it would have been, a couple of years ago been like, yeah, but I'm doing all these things.
Yeah.
And I think it's the aspect of it doesn't, like my boys don't care what I do. Like they think it's cool. Like they see Dada go play paintball, and like they see that, and sometimes Devin will have the webcast on and they see me, and like they think it's really cool, but they don't care about that. They care about me being there.
Yeah.
So, and it can be difficult. Like there's times that I get back home and it's like, I don't want to be giving in this way, or I don't want to. This weekend, we had a 2-day practice, and it's nice and hot in Florida. So it can be difficult to then go and give after. And it's like, okay, you can push through. Like, I think I had an old teacher that said you can sleep when you're dead. Like
I say it all the time. My wife hates it.
Sleep is important. I'm joking about that, but like, it's still like, it's a good reminder for myself, to have that, like, in the grand scheme of things, I love the sport. I love all of that. But if my relationships that are going to be longer than paintball are going to struggle, like there's not really it's not really worth that. So, and it's tough because it goes back and forth. Like I said, like my wife and I had this like cycle where we would be doing fine, and then something would come up, and then it would be like sort of paintball related, and then that might put it in. It just became this like back and forth. And I think some of it is just growth of like the communication, like you were talking about. But you can't really communicate with a 3 and a 5-year-old. So, like okay, we are doing this tomorrow. Let's look forward to this. We're going to do this special thing and whatever. And you stick with it no matter how tired you are, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah. And there's definitely times that I fail at it. Like I am not a perfect father by any means. I'm not Bluey, or not, Bandit from Bluey.
Yeah.
For anyone that has kids knows that. You watch that show and you're just like, man, this dude is making me look real bad.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, thanks for that answer, because I think a lot of people will struggle with that, and I think it's just maturity. Like I think if I had probably asked you that question, 10 years ago, you'd be like, oh no, like of course I want to go win 100 medals. Like that's going to be my legacy, and like to hear that change in you is just, I think, maturity as you go through life and have kids.
Yeah.
Talk to me. I think there's going to be 3 different pockets of people that know you. There's going to be like people that know you from YouTube. There's going to be people that know you from your career. And then there's going to be people that know you from your Christ Crew headband.
Yeah.
And for a while, I didn't know the meaning behind it. Obviously, I assumed it was religious based. But then I've been to every NXL event except for one in the past 3 years. And every time I hear something, I'm like, wow, I had no idea we offered that. I had no idea that we had a tent for people that are struggling like with mental illness. And then I just found out recently that like you sometimes will have Bible studies at events, or I guess I don't know what you call it, Bible studies or Bible talks.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are we not talking about this? Like whether you're religious or not, like that's such a amazing opportunity and an amazing space for people that are.
Well, so this is actually something pretty new, because we had done it before. So Thomas Taylor was doing those before, and I remember going to events, and we would hang out, and it's just like a quick discussion, just read a scripture and talk and pray, and ultimately everyone has different match times and all of that, so it's more just a coming together. But it's something that actually the pastor of our church and a deacon from our church kind of challenged me with, of like, well, how can you use paintball? And it's like,
oh wow,
yeah, I should be using this. Like this is people know me as like they see that and they know me. It's not a, like I said, it's not a hidden thing that they're like, oh yeah, oh wait, you're Christian. Like they know that that's something that I stand for. And yeah, so like this upcoming event, I know when this comes out, Texas is over with,
here,
but yeah, no, it's all good. So the plan is that from here on out, like any event that I'm able to, like I'll be helping out with that. Ruthless has been really awesome. Yeah. John said that we can do it at his booth. He also sells some of the Christ Crew headbands, and there's a certain percentage that goes to Operation Christmas Child. So it's a nonprofit that helps out with just needy kids. So yeah, that's something that we're starting at Legacy Paintball as well. It's funny because Tom Fox, one of the owners there, had mentioned that he had been praying about wanting to do that, and then I had just posted up like, "Hey, we're going to do this at 2:00." And he messaged me and was like, "Oh, I've actually been wanting to do this. So this is really cool." So again, the timing of it is really cool how all that worked out. And ultimately, if it's only 2 people or if it's 20, like it doesn't make a difference. It's just being able to. This is a sport that I got into paintball because of my church. Like my church had a paintball day, and my dad forced me to go basically, and here I am, like
here you are years later,
Yeah. So, it's something that, I mean, even like the parable of the talents talks about like using talents and not just burying them. And I've probably been burying it a little bit lately. So I need to be, using this. It's a sport that I love and something that people know me as already. So why not use it as a platform?
Yeah, I mean, what beautiful just life advice in general is something that you're good at and you're passionate about. Like, let that out, right? Because I think so many people, they'll be good at something, but then there's just so much fear of like, well, if I do this, like, what will this mean? Will this define me? What if it fails? And like what you're doing is, like you said, whether it's 1 people or 100 people that show up, like it's incredible because you're going to touch at least 1 person.
Right. Or it at least gets the conversation going somewhere else. Like ultimately it doesn't matter what I do. Like I can just say hello to someone and be kind to them. And that's spreading the gospel. Like it's just being that light to other people.
Somebody else. Yeah. Man, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing it. That was something that when I read it, I was like, wow, that's such a great part of our sport that we're adding to. Something I think would be really cool is at some point get in touch with Alex Fragi, from obviously Dynasty and the Great American Paintball magazine. That'd be a really cool article to write.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
He'd be so open to it too. He would love to have it, I'm sure.
Oh, it'd be really cool to do something like that. Yeah. It'd actually be really funny if we can get Alex Hong to talk about it.
Yeah, totally.
I still have his jersey. I got his last Ironman jersey. Like I think his brother was at HB, and I think this is right when he had retired, because actually now he's a pastor at a church.
Wow.
So he went from playing pro with Legacy and Ironman to doing that. So he was the one that started Christ Crew, and I think the idea was that no one really owns it. It's a
community,
just a community. Yeah, it's not. No one officially owns this thing. It's just something that we have like a common belief and a common goal, and that's it.
I'm going to hold you to that because I know issue 3 comes out, I think either this weekend at NXL or in the next coming weeks here. And I know Alex is actively working on content for the next edition. So like that would be incredible.
If he wants to talk, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I'm going to connect you guys this weekend.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
I've got 2 more questions. One, this I just thought of this and I didn't prep you for it, so I apologize.
It's fine.
15, 20 years from now, maybe even 30 years from now, when you're on the outside of the sport, what do you want people to look back and remember you as? Like, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think I would want it to be that people remember me as being a positive influence. Like obviously helping people with playing and all of that, but I think it also being outside the net. There's something to be said about being a great competitor, but maybe even more how you are outside the net. Like there's some pro guys that I feel like they can be all high and mighty outside, and it's like you go to a 7-Eleven and no one knows who you are. Like
very humble.
This is not really you're not Tom Brady. Like he can go, Michael Jordan goes somewhere and no one that like people recognize them that don't even watch any basketball. It's like we don't have that in paintball, so there's no reason to be like that. So I would hope, a positive influence. Hopefully people would see me as righteous. I'm sure that I've messed up, and I know that I have. So and just been I guess a light in that way.
Yeah. What a great answer. I think you're right. Like, the Michael Jordans of the world don't have a chance to be anybody else but that person that's played on the court. And so to hear that you want to be something different from that's a really nice spin on that. Thanks for answering that.
Yeah.
All right, I promise. My last question.
It's fine.
I've got a really cool way that I've tied all of my guests in for each episode. So what I've done is I've asked each guest a question to leave for the next guest without knowing who it is. And it's been a really cool way. So like you'll get to ask a question for next week without knowing who it is.
Uh-huh.
So it's just a really cool way to like tie in everybody. And
yeah, that's cool. I like that.
People have taken the questions all over the place. Somebody has been like, is soup a cereal or chowder? Somebody has asked just very methodical paintball questions, and I've had like philosophical life questions. So however you want to take it, you can take it. But your question comes from Jake Seaball of Paintball Fit. He
cool. Okay.
Came on the pro scene this year and exploded, right?
Yeah, has done awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a really cool question for you because being in the content space a little bit, his question for you is what was the first memorable paintball video that you ever watched that like resonates with you?
Oh, that's a good one. It was probably some like PB Star video, but one that really comes to mind is one that I've like probably watched way too many times with serial killers. Like watching all of that and just watching it on repeat. It's hard to pin down. I'm trying to think of what's the one that was like the really big one.
The one, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll have to go with serial killers. Yeah. I feel like there's something. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there was another Dirter video that, all of those, but yeah, serial killers. I think there was something cool. Like, it's funny actually talking about like with Christ Crew, like watching Thomas Taylor and, seeing his stuff on there. And, it like now I can text him. Like that's the funny thing with paintball.
Isn't it crazy, right? Like these are like heroes that you see on these videos. And then someday, like you're now texting with them and you're like working on projects. The wildest phenomenon.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's so funny how that works out. And then, it actually reminds me of so talking about other content creators. So with Ronnie, I had done a clinic. It was like a one-on-one clinic, and this one kid had mentioned that Ronnie was his favorite player. So I'm like, pull him up on FaceTime, and I just like hit it, and I'm like, here you go, man. And then so of course, Ronnie's awesome. So he took the extra. It was only a couple minutes, but for that kid, that was a huge thing. Like, wait, you have Ronnie's number, and yeah, that's so awesome, dude. And he's like, oh, you learned a lot from Greg. He's like, yeah, it was great, and like that was a really cool experience. So it's funny with like just that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like walking up to those kinds of guys and being able to just have conversations and, whatever.
There's normal guys at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what a cool, that's something that kid's going to remember for the rest of his life.
For sure. Yeah.
So cool. All right. Great answer. Pressure's off. You get to ask a question for next week's guest without knowing who it is.
Does it have to? You said it doesn't have to be paintball related?
You can take it literally wherever you want to. It doesn't have to be paintball.
This is one that annoyed me that my students asked, and I know the answer, but I'm curious to see what they'd say. Is water wet?
Oh gosh. Okay. That's going to be great. Yeah. What do your students think?
I think they're all split down the middle, and and I'm like, it's the compound. It's just water. It is water. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it is wet. Like it is. But yeah, they're like, no, it makes things wet. It makes things wet. And I'm like, no, it just is. Okay.
Yeah, it creates like a fun like icebreaker / discussion in a way. I bet.
Yeah, it's like the is a taco a sandwich, or is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes. Yeah. I used to have I had a professor in college who would start every class. He would have a question on the screen, and it was like one of those questions like,
That's good.
Is there this or that? And it just created like such a fun environment to like get into the classroom. And like you look forward to it too.
Yeah, yeah. I used to. Well, I still have. I'll put up like just a bad like kind of dad science joke kind of thing on for my students. I feel like most of the time they just ignore it, but like there's some that they'll do that. I used to do in my middle school classes. I had a random science fact, so just be some completely off the wall thing. And okay, let's get serious and talk about this other whatever. And it's just a kind of like a little icebreaker, I guess, to get them into the class.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Greg, this has been absolutely incredible. This is a show I've been looking forward to you for such a long time. Even before getting back into paintball and the photography side and now the podcast, like I've consumed your content for years, just staying relevant with the sport. So thank you for what you do for the sport. You truly are one of the ambassadors of the sport.
Thank you.
I really hope you feel that and sit with that, because the time that you're taking away from your family to do for this crazy sport to help get new players into it it's unreal. So I think on behalf of paintball, thank you for what you do.
No, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the kind words, and I know technically I think we're past the time that you said, so I keep talking for way too long, so it's probably good to cut me off.
And I had a bunch of other questions like, you know what, like I'll save those, like I'll have you on at some point again. We'll do another
do a part 2. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
definitely be good.
Awesome. Well, I know everyone's gonna be seeing this after Texas, but for you, good luck this weekend. I hope you do well. Hopefully we see you on the podium.
Yeah.
And I'll come by and introduce myself in person too at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely stop over, and I'm sure I'll run into you at some point. So
totally, it always happens.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate it.
For sure. Well, everyone else, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Shellda podcast, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.